You've just come back from Australia. You know, when I was younger, being part of the Commonwealth was a big deal because we didn't have visa issues going to the UK and places like that. The Queen used to welcome us with open arms. It's not so much the case anymore. Is the Commonwealth still relevant? Why are we still a part of it?
Well, I think the Commonwealth is an important organization, partly because it is one of the big organizations that is very diverse in terms of its membership globally and well spread geographically. I think as an organization, it certainly has to make itself relevant to today's issues. Because I think if it remains without transforming, then it would not be as relevant. Could be just an association. I think because of what I've just said, that because of its size, its diversity, etc., people speaking one language in the main, it therefore becomes an important center of discussions. I think the CHOGM, as they call it, Commonwealth Summit that we had in Australia, in Perth, a few days ago, indicated that there is consciousness within the Commonwealth that we must transform. There were a number of issues that were discussed and proposals that were made by a group that was set, of the eminent persons group, that was set to look at the organization and make proposals and recommendations. And they did so. And that a lot of them, which were aimed at looking at the transformation of the organization. And many of them were adopted, others will still have to be worked on. It has also decided to involve the people, so to speak. As a result, besides many groups that were there, one of the interesting ones was the youth of the Commonwealth, who engaged leaders on very new and vibrant ideas and what needs to be done. And I think there was a very important view that emerged, that this youth organization must actually be given more space so that it can, in a sense, influence the direction. So I think from that point of view, we are transforming. We also discussed the pertinent issues of today, climate change, as well as the economic crisis, as well as other political issues that affect the world. But the point I'm making, it is transforming because we feel it should, so that it should remain relevant and therefore influence the global interaction of countries, etc., etc.
Coming back home, it's been a big month for you. The last time we spoke, you shared your thoughts with us. You made some promises about taking action with some of the issues that were on your table. You've taken quite a lot of action, actually, in the past month. Looking back at this, the media has written it up in a certain way. What would you like South Africans to think about the actions that you've taken? What's on the mind of the President? What's the rationale of some of the decisions that you've taken in the past month?
Well, you'll remember when we were here, the media was saying government does nothing, and government is inactive or indecisive or whatever. And I then said, as government, we must retain our character as a responsible entity. We can't act recklessly. We can't be sensational about the life of the country, nor about the life of individuals. We've got to do things responsibly. And we said at the time, we're looking at the issues so that when we take the final decisions, which we said we were going to take, there must be decisions that are well thought out, that indeed are not sensational, are dealing with the issues as the thing was said, that we need remedies, so that we should remedy the situation. What becomes interesting to me is that when you take decisions, again there are criticisms. So you end up not knowing what is it that people are looking for. I think as a government we'll remain responsible, look at issues. If there are facts that says we must act quickly, we'll do so. But if the situation says we must take due processes so that when we take decisions, the decisions are correct and well thought out, that's what we will do. That's what the government will continue to do. And we believe at the time when we took the decision it was correct. I don't think anyone could have doubted. And I'm sure if we took decisions earlier, you could find that other facts are in fact not as they appeared first. So that is a responsibility of government. And government must remain responsible. Cannot be taken by emotional and sensational issues, otherwise that would not be government.
All right, Mr. President. Let's open the discussion to the floor. I think Marius is at Vermeulen with the Power Group. You're on table number 4. Where are you, Marius? Please put your hand up.
Hi.
Marius has a question for you. Marius?
Mr. President, firstly, I hope you do support province rugby. I would like to know how is government going to make foreign investment more attractive, and regarding all the stuff going on with nationalization and so forth. Thank you.
Well, I think over a period, this is what government has been doing to try to make South Africa an attractive investment destination. We do so. One of the things we have to do is to emerge with policies that are user-friendly to investments, is to do everything that is necessary to make investing in South Africa not very difficult. But also at the heart of this is what kind of system the country exercises. I think we are a constitutional democratic country that, in a sense, our democracy is so thorough that it gives confidence to an investor. No investor comes to South Africa who can say you cannot predict what's going to happen to this country in the next decade or 2 or 3. Those are some of the elements you need to work for. That the country is indeed stable and democratic, in our case, transparent. You can predict what is going to happen in this country. You can therefore predict what is going to happen to your investment. And I think that's what we've been doing, and we'll continue to deepen that. And we always call upon the society to say, what suggestions can you make to make that kind of program of those processes even better? But we think we've been doing it over a period. I think what, in a sense, at times that people misread is the economic problems that have come that tended to affect everybody in the world, and therefore made the investors to be apprehensive about where to invest. But otherwise, as a country, we get a recognition that we are a very attractive investment destination.
All right, let's take one more question before we move on. Shirley Gunn, you're at table number 14. Where are you, Shirley? She's with the Kulumani Support Group. And you have a question for the President, Shirley?
I do. I have two. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
The first question relates to perhaps an add-on to Marius's question. How do you create an environment of foreign investment? I would answer, deal with the past appropriately. The people on the dump in South Africa, the poorest of the poor, are the veterans of our struggle. And there's a President's Fund with 1 billion rand in it that has not been spent on the needs of people who fought against apartheid. The second question is around our international apartheid lawsuit against multinationals. Now, business here, we're really let off the hook through the TRC. But we have got 5 companies that we are holding responsible for aiding and abetting apartheid. Cabinet ministers in the Justice Department have put in affidavits against our lawsuit. We want those removed from the case. We want you to show your leadership and remove those. GM has already offered $10 million to the fund, and they're bankrupt. And we're going to set up a trust. We'll speak to New Age about the developments of the trust, but we urge local business as well to make a contribution to this trust for people who fought apartheid, that weren't having a holiday.
Shirley, can I ask you to...
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So there are 2 questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Mr. President, first one, what is happening with the R1 billion in the President's Fund?
In the President's Fund?
Yeah.
Which one?
Shirley, he's got a number of funds. Which one are you concerned with? Which fund?
The President's Fund, the Reparations Fund, President.
The Reparations Fund. Okay, and
President's Fund.
Okay, and your fear is that it's not being used?
Well, there's no consultation with victims of apartheid violence and torture, and community reparations needs consultation. Simple.
All right, so no...
And there are a lot of people that are left out of the hook, particularly in KZN. And that's why the organization is called Kulamani, Speak Out.
All right, so your big concern is reparations for people that were involved in the struggle?
Not the youth, not the young.
Okay.
These are the old veterans, matured people with tremendous amount of dignity. Thank you.
Well, I will have to check on that one as to what is happening with that R1 billion. Because I think there are structures that were set to deal with that matter. Without a report that says what has happened, I don't think I would help the questioner to say this is what is happening in the details. So I would have to go and check that as to what has happened to the R1 billion with regard to reparations. I will come back with the answer to the questioner. Well, with regard to the companies that supported apartheid, and I'm sure the questioner is aware that the matter was in public, discussed quite extensively, and as she says, also the TRC looked at the matter, and the matter has been pursued in one form or the other. I think there have been different views about this matter. Should we pursue these companies in the today's kind of situation? Or what should we do? I think the matter has been basically, in fact, with legal people. Even the people who are taking actions were legal people who are looking at these matters, but also in relation to the relations today between countries and companies. It also has an element of saying, if we talk about investment here, what do you do to companies that are keen to invest in the country that may have those kind of problems? On the balance, what do you do? Do you pursue those, or do you create an environment that helps us to move forward, or do you pursue what happened before? I think the matter does not have a one street answer or one way answer. I think there are varieties of views that people have put across as to how, as a country, do we deal with such situations. I think if you take South Africa, you take ourselves, not the companies. What have we done to ourselves? There are people in this country who pursued apartheid. Were we supposed, after we finish apartheid, then to take them to court, create a Nuremberg trial because we committed this kind of crimes? I think we opted to move forward and create South Africa. That's what we did. There are many examples that we could quote. So I think we should ask the question with all of those kind of issues in mind. What do we want to move, what do we want to create out of our country? Do we want a conflictual and conflict kind of a situation, fighting with companies? Would that have been a good thing if we fought with one another because of what we did in the past? I don't think so. I think we should be saying, what else can we do to move forward so that we create a prosperous South Africa?
Okay. All right, so there's a couple of questions that have come from our business leaders here at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. We'll continue to engage with the President and find out some of the thoughts that you have at home, and that's coming up after this break.